extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on, yeah. Come up now. Come on, stop me. Come on, you coming
Hey,
Hello.
hey. Okay, there you go. I'm like, all right, there we are. I'm like, what is going on with your picture?
So no, this thing is really
But it's
just
good. It's good. Don't move it. Don't move it. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another Power Pack episode show of HOP series. And if you don't know what HOP stands for, it stands for House of Peach. I am April Anderson, and my beautiful, beautiful host as well, Morgan B. Harvey, better known as Mo, to her friends, and I'm her friend, so I can call her Mo.
yes.
Come on, girlfriend.
I'm good. I am good. I am tired. I felt like I was more energetic last week, but tired for a good reason. We have a
Right?
whole new baby in the world.
I know. I've been watching your happenings and Welcome
Yeah.
Baby Girl on
Yeah.
there, so you've been pretty busy.
Yes, very much so. So today, yes, today was a very busy day, and a great day.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, it's been good. Um and good to just, I guess, pick up. I want us, I meant to actually send you a text message. I do want us at some point in time soon to have a segment really about bullying.
Mm.
Especially when it comes to parenting. Unfortunately, my son had to experience losing a friend
Oh.
to bullying,
Oh,
and
wow.
this is something that is just completely unacceptable. um,
Right.
Sad. It's not something that a parent should have to deal with. It's not something that another parent should have to break the news to their child. Children to really have to process their peers at a young age, um,
Right.
you know, going through a lot, and really just talk about, a lot of just different layers, because, there's a lot that goes on in that. You can't just pinpoint or, point fingers, but, we can, shed some light on parenting. We can, when it comes to bullying, we can shed some light, on just parenting in general and what it means
Right.
to sometimes just have a listening ear, even when we want to, shake our kids because we feel like, oh my gosh,
Right.
that. But some
Right.
having a different kind of reaction, you know, can change things. Or even just in general, how do we talk to our kids about being bullied? You know what I mean? How
Right.
do we know when the environment is not right? How do we deal with school administration? How do we talk
Mhm.
to administration? A lot of these different things, just as a parent, I feel like, we need to talk about these things because it's real. Um,
Right, absolutely.
and
And
it's
I know when we were first talking about the various topics that we would discuss, we did talk about the parenting, but I think if we do the parenting and then have different subtopics, that
yeah,
would be great. My kids experienced the same thing when we were in South Dakota, because in South Dakota, we were definitely in the minority. Like there were maybe a handful of people of color in the town that we were in. And my two daughters at the time were in high school. So it was, I mean, I had to go to the school a couple of times to talk to the principal, like, listen, this is not getting ready to happen here. So you need to figure out what to do to stop this because
right.
I'm not going to have that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Advocating for your child and really knowing your child, especially
Mhm.
when certain situations come up, is key
Right.
to your child's success and really creating the learning environment that we want. So,
Right.
um,
Hey,
hello. Hey,
Jackie.
Jackie. Oh, y'all, on a lighter note, hello. I got in the mail that banana pudding cake.
Kate. Yes, you did. I saw
And
your video.
I got a sweet potato pie
Which I'm a little salty
and
about
a
because I
bean
didn't get
pie.
that.
And a bean pie. Okay, so my girlfriend came over. We were talking for a bit, and when she opened up the door, the package was outside. So I was like, "Oh, we get to eat sweets right now!" I got so excited. So afterwards, I was like, we tried the banana pudding. It was so funny. Noah, I was like, I don't know if you got a chance to see it. If you guys
I
haven't, I was
saw
like, go on
him.
my page. It's so funny. Noah's commentary is hilarious.
It
Hilarious.
was. He's so funny. He is funny.
And then he turns around and like, so my husband is not a banana fan either. We have a lot of like food similarities, but I already was like, this is good. My husband didn't hear me, so he comes down the stairs, and the first thing Noah does is shove a whole spoonful in his mouth. He's like, "Here, Dad, try this." Boom. He's like, "What is it?" He's like, "Banana pudding." And he's like, "This
Oh,
is good."
right, right. Change your whole
Exactly.
perspective on
It
everything.
was perfect. Like for some, if you don't like banana, that is it. My neighbor is already like, listen, I need her information because I told her about the coconut cake. And so
Yeah.
Jackie, just know that you're supposed to be prepared for a
Delaware
coconut
is
cake order.
all the orders are going to Delaware. Okay.
All the orders are coming to Delaware. Exactly. So
Oh
shout out
wow.
to Jackie. Thank you so much, Granny's.
Granny's Goods. Y'all need to check out Granny's Goods. And she is our guest next Tuesday. Yes.
I'm so excited.
All right. So we are going to go into what we are talking about today. Our guest is Elrita Godbold. I've known her for the past 2 years. She is phenomenal, has helped me in a number of areas in my life and continues to do so. She is a business owner. She owns Innovative Behavioral Concepts, and I hope I got that right. And we're going to talk about managing your mind to influence your future. Yo, when I came up with that topic, when I literally said hot off the press, that just like boom. Who does that?
That's really good. That's like super, super, super good.
Oh, we're going to bring her on so we can talk about the benefits of having therapy and just go into some deeper things because I know for me, for our culture, having therapy was always taboo. Like, you know, you go get therapy, you're crazy, something's wrong with you. And that is so far from the truth. Because if you don't have your mind managed, you don't get the help to process things, it will influence your future, whether it be negative or positive or whatever. But if it's not managed properly, if you don't get the tools that you need to work through stuff, you are absolutely going to have issues. So I'm excited about having her on. She was a little hesitant about coming on. Well, I'm like, come on, you're going to be fine. This is like really laid back. It's fun. It's just
Yeah.
having a conversation. Hey, Elrita,
Hi,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. How
good.
are
How
you?
are you?
Good, good. I'm doing well. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I know you probably have had a busy day and will continue to do so much later on, but thank you so much for agreeing to come on. We're going to talk about all the benefits of having therapy, and it's just going to be like a fireside chat. Like we're just, sitting in the living
Okay.
room and just having some hot tea and talking. I wish I had some tea now to think about that, but I don't. But anyway, we'll just keep going. I got my water. We'll work with that.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
yeah, so let's just give a little background because you have an extensive background. You've branched out, have your own business, which is a holistic business. Like you have just about everything. It's a one-stop shop, really. So
Yeah.
tell us how you first got into or the desire to get into being, doing social work and therapy. How did that come about?
I think it came about when I was in school. I went to Lincoln University and I studied psychology. So I always wanted to work with kids, doing therapy and, just helping kids that were troubled and things like that. And initially, I didn't want to open my own business. I felt it would be, just too strenuous to have to deal with the day to day, business things. But through my through my journey, I was working for other people, and you just found out sometimes you can do things a lot better. You saw
Mm,
things that weren't working right or things that were ineffective, and then I had some people come into my life that were like, "Hey, let's try to do this ourselves." So initially, I partnered with a couple of people. It didn't quite work out, and I was going to kind of give up. But I had a lot of clients, and people were really encouraging me to go out on my own, which I'm glad that I did. So that brought me now to where I'm at Innovative Behavioral. And yes, you did get it right. You got it right. And I've been there for about a year, and it's we do individual therapy, group therapy with kids and adults, and it's also a holistic therapy, as April said. We have Reiki there. We have a Reiki therapist. We have massage. We do yoga every other week, and I also have a doula that she has her business there as well. So we all work together as a team, to provide services to the community.
And I can't believe it's been a year
Yeah,
and
little
it's
November was a
booming
year.
like overflow. You've been in
Yes.
overflow since you started. So, I think it's so great that you had the support of your clients and everyone pushing you, because just
Yes.
look and see where you would have been had you
Mhm.
not done that. And
Exactly.
how many of us would have been sitting on the side, like, what are we gonna do now? So that is great. And it is literally a one-stop shop, because we had Zio on last week, and Zio is with you. She's a doula,
Mhm.
also Reiki therapy. And then you have the massage therapist and the things for the kids and all the other little moving pieces and parts and groups that come out from this that have been very helpful to a lot of people, which has been great. So you're now a business owner and everything's going well. So we want to get into some of the deeper topics, because we
Okay.
want to diminish the fear that some people would have of going
Mhm.
to therapy. Like, I
Mhm.
know I have some very close family members that I have told that they need to go to therapy. Whether they take me up on that is their thing, but it's like, you need to go talk to somebody and you
Mhm.
need to get the tools that you need, because I know for me, and I'm not ashamed to tell people that I get therapy. I see Elrita twice, twice. But the things that she's given me, the homework, the worksheets, the what alternate way of thinking about things, has definitely helped me in my life. So, what can you dispel about therapy that people would think, oh no, I'm not going? How would you get someone to agree to come into it, at least try it out?
I think it's true what you said. It's about the messages, especially in our culture, that we received, in our society about therapy being, taboo, or it has to be, you have to really have something wrong with you, or this really strong bad diagnosis. And it's really not about that. It's about tools, just like you said. It's about having a conversation, sitting down and just talking about stressors, things that may be going wrong in your life that you may need some guidance, of. So, a lot of people, when they first come in, they're nervous, they don't know what to expect. And, we just sit and talk. We sit and have a conversation and build rapport first, and get them comfortable. And it's no pressure. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. You don't have to feel that you're forced to do anything. The treatment is about you. So you create the treatment plan. I'm just there to kind of guide you and to give you what you need, along the way. And, with the holistic practice, that kind of helps as well, because we have people there that can help you with mindfulness practices such as meditation. We just brought Karma Ye on, and she has a 6-week holistic program that she does with clients. And we have Melody, who is our yoga practitioner, and we have the yoga biweekly. And we just started a kids club, a mindfulness club, which was really good on Sunday for the kids, to teach them how to self-soothe, because we always throw medication, at the kids. They're jumping up and down a little too much, and the first thing they want to do is give them Ritalin. But if you're able to teach a child how to calm themselves down and how to understand what their triggers are and why their body is reacting the way it is, you'll get a much better outcome.
Mm, that is very key. They're very key, very key.
I have a question with
Sure.
that. Do you also, because you have a whole holistic approach
Mhm.
in that specific setting, do you also add in elements of nutrition with that, because at the same time, like you said, self-soothing is most definitely a
Mhm.
tool that's necessary, especially when all of those emotions go crazy. But then let's
Mhm.
also talk about the foods that we're
Yes.
ingesting that's and causing sometimes even
Mhm.
emotions to go crazy, on top of just situational things that
Right.
we're learning on how to, balance.
The different dyes and all kinds of things that are in the foods. When we first started, we had someone that was going to come on board as a nutritional consultant,
Mhm.
but it didn't quite work out. But I talk to clients a lot, especially kids, about nutrition and the things they're putting in their body because I've been vegan for about 3 years, and it really helps, to learn about the things that you're putting in your body and how it affects your body, especially with children.
Right.
When it comes to sugar and additives and preservatives and their steroids and everything, and different things that really affect their behavior.
Mhm.
So, I don't try to convert people, to vegan or anything like
Right.
that, but just, making small changes, sometimes you can really see a big difference. And we definitely are still looking to bring someone on that does, nutritional consulting as
Okay.
well.
Well, I'll send some folk your way
Oh,
to.
sure. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Mo knows everybody.
Well, I need
You
some
know
I
therapists
everybody
do.
too.
too.
So if you know some therapists, definitely send them my way as well. I need some licensed therapists. So
Absolutely, I do.
great.
Yes, her
Absolutely.
practice has blown up to where she's
Okay.
trying to handle it by herself and she needs some help. So, licensed
I
therapists, you
love
must
that.
be licensed. You need to reach out to Elrita
Yes,
and
thank you.
fill out application and interview and all that good stuff. There is work to be done, and there's a lot of people that need
Hmm.
the services. So we need to be able to have the avenue to provide it for them.
For
Absolutely.
So
sure.
who all would benefit there?
Anybody, people from all walks of life. I'm noticing other cultures that wouldn't go to therapy outside of our culture. I get a lot of Asians, they were very against therapy at some point. So I get a lot of different cultures that are reaching out now. And I think the pandemic has a lot to do with that because
Mm.
people really started to see with the pandemic when a lot of our freedoms were taken from us and people were, shut in and couldn't work and all of these things, it became an issue. People started
Mhm.
having anxiety and they started having stress and traumas started to really come to the forefront. So people really started to reach out, during that time. And the insurance companies made it a lot easier because they provided provisions for like telehealth and
Mhm.
different things like that. So sometimes people are a lot more comfortable, you know,
Mhm.
talking on Zoom or talking on the phone, maybe not in person. Sometimes I think it's more effective in person, but whatever the client wants is what I, provide for them. If they're comfortable with telehealth, that's what we do.
Yeah, I know for having done both of them, the telehealth and the in person, I always prefer the in person because
Yes.
I feel like
Hmm.
actually being in the office and actually we seeing each other in person, it's
Hmm.
more helpful than me. It's being telehealth because then it's like I'm video chatting with a friend.
Right, right.
I
Hmm.
really can't get into what I want to. And then for me, I got a bunch of people around me. Like I got to find a quiet place,
Yeah.
a private place to go be able to say what I want to say. So
Hmm.
I know I personally believe that it would be more effective for people just to have that safe place where there are no outside distractions. You can come in, you're
Hmm.
closed in, and you can just be you.
Especially
Um,
for kids, it's very important for kids to come in and do face to face because they're already distractible. You know what I mean? So you really don't want to try to engage with them via Zoom or the phone because they already don't want to be in therapy. You know what I mean?
right,
So,
right.
we have the playroom and different things there to help engage with them. We have a new program, a virtual program that we do where we can put the kids and even adults into different environments and work with them in the different virtual reality environments and
Yes.
focus on their breathing and their blood pressure and different things like that. And provide them with like exposure therapy. If somebody's having some type of phobia or some type of a OCD, some type of compulsion, we can work with them within that program. So that's a new program that I'm onboarding right now with that. But I'm really excited, to bring that to the practice as well, especially for kids, because kids are into the whole virtual reality um, scene right now. So they're
Oh,
really excited about that coming aboard.
absolutely. I actually, it's funny that you say that. So April, I'm actually the opposite, and I think that I prefer telehealth at but like or at least virtual, um because the first time I had a therapist, it was not a good experience, and that was face to face. And so that was going to be leading into my next question, because some people don't really understand what's the process, or what should I be looking for in a therapist, and then what does it mean if I feel like someone doesn't necessarily gel, because like you said, you have to build rapport, so you've got to take
Mhm.
some time to be able to really see if this is someone that you can connect with and then be able to do some work on. But
Right.
April, I felt you when you said, I felt like I was also talking to a girlfriend. I have gone through multiple therapists before I found the one that I currently have, which has been a perfect fit. And that's not to say that the other ones did not serve me well. It just was, if nothing else, it was great for me to be able to feel comfortable enough to open up.
Mhm.
But the work that I'm doing now, I don't think I might have been able to do with those other ones, only because everyone provides something different. Everyone comes to, the table with something different, different knowledge, expertise, different ways of doing things. Some are somatic, some people are other, you know what I mean? So can you just talk about different types of therapy, different ways, and how one can be able to judge, what
Mhm.
works best for them?
Well, I think it's really about, what you're looking for. I've had a lot of clients come and say that they have previous therapists that, just talk to them, and that may be okay for some people, but some people want a little more. They may want you to talk to them, validate what they're saying and provide them with tools, So I like to make sure that a client leaves with something, you know what I mean? That once they leave, they have something that they can utilize during the week if they come up against something, So there's therapists that will just do talk therapy. There's therapists that are more analytical and theory based, and they may get into more of the technical things. And there's some therapists that have a little bit of all of that. Sometimes it's you have to the theories are fine, and the evidence-based stuff, definitely want to focus on that. But the textbook stuff, you have to find a way to kind of incorporate that with everything else so that the person feels comfortable, and you have to be able to listen. I had another client said that her therapist just talked all the time, and she couldn't get a word in edgewise, which is a problem, because you definitely want to be able to have that back and forth, with the person, to understand what's going on with the person, and for them to let what's going on with them. Definitely have a treatment plan. Some therapists don't work with a treatment plan, and that's very important to have some identified goals. So those are the kind of questions when you go into therapy that you really want to, find out. What is it that how do we work on these things that I'm having a problem with? Identifying specific things that you want to work on, giving them a timeline, to work on those things, and making sure that they have tools and things to work on when they, leave the practice, and checking in with them. Is everything going okay? Am I doing something or not doing something, that you don't feel is okay, or that you feel I should be doing more of? Having that rapport, that open door where you can really talk and not feel like you can't say anything, to your therapist, So just making the person feel comfortable really is what the main goal, really should be. And some people walk into an office and they know whether it's a good fit or not, from the door.
Right.
Right. Well, you were spot on with all of that because you asked me what I wanted and how I wanted it to be and the frequency and everything, and you gave me those tools because the one that I had prior to you was this man who was between 85 and 90, and it was like talking to a friend. And I had some real, it was right in the height of the pandemic, and I had some real serious stuff going on, and he just was like my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would get off the phone with him, because it was on the phone, I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling better at all. Like,
Yeah, it
why do I
happens.
even waste my time talking to
Mm-hmm.
you when I just go talk to one of my homeboys over here and
Mm-hmm.
just get the same thing? So
Right.
I really needed something that was going to help me make the change, and I think that's key. You need to find someone that's going where you will see tangible changes in your life from going to them. Whether you process things differently, you're able to handle situations that arise and not fly off the handle. You think about it, or you respond and not react like we're supposed to do. So
Mhm.
some people, I think, would feel bad by changing, like, oh well, they may feel bad, I might need to stay with them. Well, no,
Mhm.
I'm wasting my money and you're not helping me.
Right. That's
So,
right.
no, thank you. I need to go where my money's going to work for me.
Mhm.
So, the topic, managing your mind to influence your life. If my mind isn't managed, my life's gonna be in shambles,
That's
and I'm
right.
giving you all of my money, and I'm not getting
Mhm.
anything in return.
That's
I'm
right.
angry and stressed out.
That's
So,
right. Mhm.
you talked about we seeing children and servicing children. What is the youngest age that you have in your time have serviced?
I have a 4-year-old actually right now. Um, I had a request for a 3-year-old, but that's a little young, sometimes but nowadays 3-year-olds are like 5-year-olds. You know what I mean?
I got
So, I may I may reach out to the parent and see exactly what they need and bring her in and do an intake and see if I can, help. And if not, maybe refer her to somebody that may be able to help her, depending on, her situation. But yeah, about 4, I would say,
Okay.
is about the youngest. Excuse me.
And it doesn't have to be anything. You can notice just something. And I'm asking for a friend on the slide because you know if a child may not have behavioral issues, but you see something else, because I know you mentioned about OCD behaviors, if you see that to where it just kind of overtakes them, that's something that you would need to evaluate to see what's going on, right? Because there wouldn't there be some underlying issue from that?
Probably, especially that young, a child that young, if they're displaying those type of compulsive behaviors, is
Mm,
usually something else probably going on. So, if it's a child that really needs a in-depth evaluation, I usually refer them to a neurologist or a
mhm.
psychologist so that they can do some in-depth, measurements for
Okay,
them. Hmm.
okay. So then that would lead into another question about the difference between, and this was one of Mo's
yeah.
questions, and you didn't jump in there,
I
so
look. I was so funny. I was actually about to say that.
go ahead. Well, ask the question. I'm gonna sit back here and be
Okay,
quiet.
so yes. So what's the difference between a therapist and a psychiatrist? Or like I was like some people talk about a shrink, you know what I mean? Like so is a shrink the same thing as a therapist? Is the same
Well,
thing
shrink
as
is
a
the
psychiatrist?
same as a psychiatrist.
Oh,
Back
okay.
in the
Okay.
day, a psychiatrist, they used to do therapy, but they don't do therapy anymore. They just prescribe medication usually. They may
Okay.
talk to you for a few minutes, but usually their specialty is just to prescribe medication.
Oh,
A therapist is more about psychotherapy,
mhm.
being able to work with you on your goals, if there's anything going on, as far as anxiety, depression, anything like that, a therapist usually is able to help you out with that. A psychologist as well. You usually find a psychologist, they're able to do more testing, a psychologist is. Whereas the license I have a clinical license, but I'm not licensed as a psychologist. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, even though I have a bachelor's in psychology.
Mhm.
But a psychologist can do all the testing, like the ink blot test and the testing for educational purposes, those type of things they are able to do. So depending on your needs, if you just wanted a counselor or just wanted to come in and work on some goals for therapy, then you could come into therapy. But if you needed something different, especially for a kid, and even a neurologist, I get a lot of people that want a diagnosis of autism for their kid or something like that. And that's something I would refer out for. There's a great agency in Voorhees called CNNH, Centers for Neuroabilities, and they do great work. They do very thorough evaluations for kids. You know, they don't just sit and talk to you for 20 minutes and give you a diagnosis. They do very thorough evaluations. So I usually refer out, you know, for that type of service when somebody's looking for a deeper diagnosis than, you know, a surface diagnosis.
Okay.
So, and if your clients decide that they want to try the medication route, then you have to refer them to a psychiatrist in order to do
Right.
so.
A psychiatrist, a nurse practitioner, sometimes a primary will prescribe some medication depending on the primary and how comfortable they feel. But usually the best person would be the neurologist or the psychiatrist to prescribe the medication because they can
Okay.
follow you. You know, they really know the ins and outs of what's going on with the medication and if it's not working, instead of just increasing it. You know, sometimes the primary isn't as knowledgeable, you know, about mental health to be able
Mhm.
to really manage it. So it's better with a psychiatrist or a neurologist.
Absolutely.
So, what about a count? You mentioned counselors. So, counselors and therapists. What is the difference between? Is there any difference or similarities between the two with that?
It depends. Sometimes counselors, you'll find a school counselor, for instance, you know, they may have different credentials. They may be like a guidance counselor, but they can provide counseling in school, you know,
Mhm.
to a child that may be having some difficulties. So it's different levels of licensing and different things that you can go to. I think it's just really about semantics, you know, when it comes down to counseling and therapy, you know, but it's usually the same. But if you're really looking for a therapist, they should have a clinical license, either LCSW or LPC.
Okay. Wow, that's good to know right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you see all those letters and you're just like, yeah, okay, there's a bunch of letters. That one looks good. But you
Yeah,
don't necessarily know exactly
right.
what they're offering in the end, you know?
Yeah.
Right, right. Like, I don't know what those letters mean, but it must mean something, and they got a lot of them. So let's try it out.
Exactly. That
But it
one
really
seems
is,
very educated. Like,
yeah, right. But it really is trial and error. It's like anything. You try out a restaurant. You have a new restaurant in town. You go try it out. Do you like the food or no? What pros and cons? And then, okay, I'm not gonna. That's not working for me. It doesn't have what I need or what I like. And then I'm gonna
Mhm.
go over here and try something else out. So, we
true.
have to do that. I'm not gonna go with
Mhm.
the one doctor just because.
That's
No,
right.
you don't have any bedside manner. I'm sorry, I'm moving on because
Mhm.
for after I tell you that how you are, then I'm gonna move on. And then
That's
you're gonna
right.
get a bad review.
That's
So
right.
we have options, people. You have options to
Mhm.
help you. You do not have to remain in this with the same person if they're not servicing you and
That's right.
helping you to where you are. Just know that. I think some people think they don't have the options. You do. You and
And
use
Mhm.
them.
there are people too. I think it was probably around this time last year, I was listening to a podcast and there was a gentleman who had multiple therapists
Mm,
because there are ones who deal with different things. So he had one that was trauma based, whereas he had another one that he, just kind of talked about the stresses of his everyday life and things that go on in his household and blah, 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 blah. And then you can also have a marriage counselor. So you can have three different counselors that are all, helping you be able to deal with
Okay.
different things. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? If there isn't one that could kind of, help you put it together. I know my therapist has a background as a business owner as well. So I get business not necessarily advice, but I get business mental therapy type
Mhm.
situations. He tries to make sure that my mental for my business is together. Not only are we dealing with adoption things and then dealing with, just household things and parenting things and, a whole nine yards. So, it helps to sometimes, understand that if you do like this one therapist and they're helping with certain things, but you feel like there's still something else that's not being met, you can go get another one just to
Mhm.
be able to fill that in. And you never know, that one might fill both gaps. And then, yeah, then we're back to where you were saying you can drop this one because now you've been able to fill the space a little bit better. But
Mhm.
don't go without,
That's right.
just because you feel like, oh, well, I've already got this one here,
Mhm.
Right.
For
you know.
sure. For
Now,
sure.
do you do couples and marriage counseling as well?
Yes, yes. I have a lot of couples, especially since the pandemic. I think people either figured out they like each other or they hate each other, during the
Mhm.
pandemic. So I've been getting a steady stream of couples and marriage counseling, as well. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I was like, I know
yes.
the baby boom has definitely puts a strain on some things as
Mhm.
as well. So everyone be
Yes.
home. I'm sure the couples come in for that as well. Because having to, there's a book that's called Baby Proof Your Marriage. Baby proofing your marriage, especially for first time parents and stuff like that, ends up being a lot as well.
Yes,
You know.
definitely. Matter of fact, Zia was just telling me about a course, that she thought would be good for the practice called, postpartum,
Mhm.
therapy, because a lot of, you go through, the birthing process, and sometimes it can be traumatic. I have a couple of people now that I'm counseling that had very traumatic births, and they had postpartum depression and different things going on. So there's actually, a course and a certification out there now. So I'm gonna be looking into that just to get some more skills, in that area to be able to offer that, to a wider range of clients.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, look, I know where to send mine when you get it done. Because I was like, it's necessary. If nothing else, if you think about it, it's we call it the fourth trimester, but that's the
Mhm.
one that you live with forever.
Yes.
And so that's the one that, like, if we really want to imprint and make sure that, we've got things together, it's that, and it's so hard to, like, accept sometimes the fact
Mhm.
that you are a whole new person. That's something that,
Mhm.
we have this baby, and the first thing we think is, oh, I've got to get back to this, or when am I going to get
Mhm.
back to feeling myself? And the reality is, you aren't who you were
That's
before you
right.
had this baby. So
Mhm.
now understanding how to embrace the new you and what exactly does that mean? Yeah,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
find someone for help, whether
Yeah.
it's
Definitely.
just to talk, whether it's for talk and tools, if it's just someone to listen, like, it's
Mhm.
something that's necessary. And I'm glad that you're providing that, because especially here in America, that's something that we don't get.
Mhm.
I was Postpartum depression and anxiety is an all-time high, psychosis, suicide, the whole nine yards, and that's
Mhm.
because we're not supported. There is a lack of family support. We've all just been, this is mine and you stay away kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so that community that's built, what I mean, has lacked. And so now at this point in time, we have the one of the most important people, the parents, that are left
Mhm.
unsupported. So I'd be interested to also know if that postpartum course does include fathers, because,
Okay. I'll check into that. I'll let you
like,
know.
that's something that needs to, also be
For sure.
Right.
explored.
Well,
Mhm.
that sounds like an excellent course because I'm just thinking it back over my pregnancies. Like, did I have postpartum depression? I probably did with my first one because I tried to breastfeed and getting her latched on in the hospital. It wasn't going well. And then I just remember when my milk came in and I was crying. I was like, I couldn't get her latched on. I'm like, I'll just forget it. And I just started, bottle feeding her and I wasn't pumping because I didn't have anybody to teach me about pumping or none of that. They didn't really help me with that
Mhm.
stuff. So
Mhm.
I regretted that for a long time, thinking, "Who am I? I'm not. I can't feed my baby, and I got to give her this formula." Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's key to recognizing when you need to talk to someone, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
definitely, at least in our culture, we don't have that like we should.
There's
So
Absolutely.
been so much many problems with Black maternal health too, the mortality rate and different things for Black women and Black babies. And it's like a crisis right now, and didn't really realize how bad things were, with the way Black women are being treated, especially when they go in to have babies. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that needs to be, dealt with because so many people are having, negative experiences. and
And
they're
once you
taking it.
start that negativity off in that
Hmm.
birth, now think about what that does, especially to mom's mental or
Hmm.
even just the parent's mental in general, now as that child grows.
Right.
Because
Hmm.
now that's even more fear, that's even more trauma we're building on top of, because we all know it's ghetto out there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
That's
you try to be able to create these boundaries and, this fence, so that your child has a safe space to be able to figure out exactly who they are. But if you start off in that traumatic space of not being heard, feeling like, the
right.
world is against you, or that there is a plot really on your life or your child's, then
Hmm.
how you start to then deal with everything, whether that's your partner, your job, and even parenting your child, all of that is affected,
Hmm.
tremendously. So I really appreciate the work that you do, and the fact that you are um a face that can be resonated with. I feel like that is something that's necessary, for some, not all. Some people, it doesn't, they don't necessarily need that. I know I did need to have at least a cultural reference.
Hmm.
At one point in time, I thought that I also needed a female, because
Hmm.
only a woman could be able to understand, what I was talking about. But, I was like, that's, once again, we're still talking about, feeling things out, because it's not, it's from person to person. Right now, my therapist is a male and he's great.
Hmm.
I feel seen, I feel heard,
Mhm.
and understood.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So I was like, that
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a gender thing, but can you at least speak on, that, as far as representation and why it's
Hmm.
necessary, even maybe to seek therapists that either look or resonate with you,
Hmm.
even on a spiritual level as well, because I know that that's something that I looked into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is this someone, if I have an atheist therapist, that's not, when I start talking about God, I feel like there's a whole disconnect right there.
Hmm.
So now I don't feel like you
Mhm.
can serve me. So,
Exactly.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I had a lot of people that came through and they were saying that they needed to find someone that looked like them because just of the issues, that they had, and they had other people, that didn't look like them, and they didn't feel that there was a connection. I mean, there's just certain things that culturally, we may be able to understand, either as a woman of color, like you said, spiritually, really depending on what the person is looking for. I think it helps with that rapport and that connection, that you really need. Because if you don't have that basic connection, then it's really hard to move on, with therapy. So I think people have to really identify for themselves what's important, to them when they're really looking for a therapist. Is that important? Does it matter, that is somebody of color or not? Or like you said, if not, is it something, a spiritual connection, or do you want somebody that has kids, or somebody that's married? Some marriage therapists, people that are seeking marriage and couples therapy want somebody that's been married before, that is married, because they figure, how can you talk about marriage if you've never been married? So
Mhm.
it really
Yeah.
depends on what the person is seeking, for sure.
Right.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think having someone who has had experiences in their life that they can
Hmm.
kind of maybe bring an example or two in, or they can relate better. I
Yeah.
don't want someone strictly from the textbook. Yes, incorporate that because that's how you got your degree and that's how you
Hmm.
got your licensure. But I need you to be real. I need you to come
Hmm.
out of that textbook. I need you to know how to incorporate them both the way you can help me
Hmm.
where I need to be. Don't just give me what the book says. I can go rent the book and buy and read it myself.
Hmm.
I don't need that. I need something more. And having, like Mo was saying about, the spiritual aspect. When I start saying, okay, God told me I need to do this, I don't need
Hmm.
someone looking at me like I have three heads. God said, what?
Do
Told you
I
to do
need
what?
to find the
Hmm.
psychiatrist for you?
Right, hearing voices might be medication, hallucinating. Like what? No, I need
Go
someone
back
that can
to
say, you
family
know
history.
what? I understand because God has instructed me to do this, this, and this. So it's like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
now my comfort level has increased. I'm comfortable because now you
Hmm.
now believe and have somewhat of the same beliefs and thoughts that I have.
Yeah.
So but that is key I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go talk to anybody. If I was married, I'm not going to go talk to anybody who's never been married. What in the world can you tell me? Now, if you are
Exactly.
divorced and you were married for a period of time, yes, I will come talk to you because you had the experience. So you can say, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this sounds very familiar to what I dealt with.
That's
Here, why
right.
don't you try this?"
Mm-hmm.
They're relatable. They're
Mm-hmm.
real. They have experiences that they can contribute instead of just saying, "Well, the textbook says."
Mm-hmm.
And woman, I don't want to hear about no text. I want real stuff. Like this is real. This is not. It may be a textbook case, but this is real.
Mm-hmm.
So, vetting your therapist is very. It's key.
Yeah.
It's
For
vital
sure.
for you.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
vital to your growth. It's vital to, like you said, your pocket. I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
throw money out the window, I mean, I could definitely tell you better ways for you to
Mm-hmm.
waste it. but, but yes, I was like, it really makes the world of difference. Can you talk about, especially because you said you do couples therapy?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of couples will be like, well, I want therapy, but my husband doesn't, or my wife doesn't. And, or they're like, well, if you think we need to go to therapy, why don't you go? Um, do you suggest one person going? Do you suggest the other one, trying to coerce the other? Do you think that if one goes, then typically the other one follows because they see the work that's being done? Like, what do you think as far as that's concerned?
Um, I really think it both have to be on board. If they really want it to work and make a change, they really have to be on board and have the same goal, of really wanting to, find a solution, one way or another. Sometimes people come in and they don't stay together, and that's something that, we have to work on and come to that point in therapy, but we have to do it together. Now, there is times that I've had clients that I've referred to have individual therapy too, because they'll get in there and they have other things going on that just won't work, as far as couples therapy, that they really need to unpack in individual therapy.
Mhm.
But initially for couples, they really have to. Now, I do have people come in, they're coming together, and one may be resistant, but they're there, and the fact that they're there, that says a lot. So we can work with that. But, if one comes and the other one, they're saying we want couples therapy, but the other person isn't on board, then it really won't work, like that. They both have to, have that same goal.
Mm.
And sometimes it's a struggle. It's not easy. I've had some knockdown, drag out fights in my office.
Oh wow.
But yeah, not physical, but a lot of yelling and a lot of emotions and things like that. But the fact that they're there and they're willing to work on it, there's a lot of passion. A lot of things going on. And when you start unpacking some things and getting real with people, it really anger comes out.
Yeah.
But it's a safe
Marriage does
place
a
to do
crazy
it.
thing about showing you yourself.
Mhm,
Mm.
It does
mhm.
very much that. And it also brings out a lot of your childhood stuff. That's what
Yes.
I've realized,
Yes.
because you're literally married someone else's childhood
Mhm.
and how they were taught and how they were raised.
Right.
And the longer you're with them, the more you see the things that are really ingrained in the fiber of their being. And that, I
Mhm.
feel like, is the true test of, is this really love or not? that's
Mhm.
the
Mm.
that's the real choice that's in
Yeah.
there. Because at the end of the day, 99.9% of us, none of us chose our parents. We didn't choose our
Right.
upbringing. We didn't choose how we were raised. None of that. So we're all coming to the table with some baggage. But
Mhm.
now, what are we, doing about that? So
Mhm.
it's get locked and loaded. Look, you're gonna be ready when you get married because you already doing the work, and we just praying that one has done the work too. So we we
Okay.
good. We good.
He's waiting. He's waiting. I'm ready. Where? Ready. Yeah, because I have put in some serious work.
I
I'm
hear that.
telling you.
You're
I
primed.
dealt,
You're all primed right now, right?
oh yeah, I put in the work and dealt with the trauma and dealt with all of the extras. Yeah, so I'm good, ready. He's getting the best version of April whenever he
Yes,
decides to show up.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
You will have a invitation, and you better make yourself present in the place.
As
It's going to
listen,
be so
I'll
huge.
call it now. I cater the wedding. I'll cater the wedding.
Okay, done. That's sold. Okay, so before we close out here, the topic for tonight was managing your mind to what influence your life. But before we have you talk about that, there's a question: where are you located, and do you take insurance?
I am located in Marlton, New Jersey, 104 Center Boulevard, Suite B. And yes, I do take insurance. Most private insurances I take. And I'm in the process of getting approved for Medicaid.
All right, and then they can go to your website to make an appointment. Correct. So give us the website as well.
It's innovativebehavioral.us.
There it is, innovativebehavioral.us. She takes insurance and she's given the address. So if you want to check and see if your insurance is covered with her, if she accepts it, then you need to give them a call to make sure on that. So you can do that. Now, managing your mind to influence your life. And I got that straight off the press. Hot, but I had to come up with that. What does that as a therapist and having seen many people, having many that you service, what does that mean to you?
I think it really means, managing stress. Every day we have stressors, that we deal with from home life to work, relationships, different things. So being able to manage those, what we call psychosocial stressors, that we deal with, either through therapy, talking to somebody, doing your own self care. Self care is such a big thing. Everybody talks about self care. And, that means different things to different people, whether it's, going to get a massage, getting your hair and nails done. It could just mean taking a walk, writing in a journal, listening to music, having some type of routine for yourself, focusing on gratitude. That's always a great thing to do when trying to manage stress. Meditation is a great stress manager, because it's really important to be able to declutter your mind, declutter your environment. When people talk about their environment and how that, when you're in your environment, you're in your home, you're in your car, you're in your office. And when you have a lot of clutter and things like that, it can really be stressful. It can stress you out. And now that spring is here, you see a lot of people that are looking to do spring cleaning and purging and all those kind of things. And it really helps with your mental. And you feel so much better when you're able to purge and get rid of things and, you know, change your curtains, change your area rugs, really do a deep cleaning, get rid of things that you may have accumulated. It really helps because when you're able to do that, your whole mental feels a whole lot better.
Right.
Reassessing your goals. If you, I have something called intentional goal setting. April, you're familiar with that. We work on, and it's focusing on specific goals for yourself. Really defining what those goals are, giving yourself due dates for those goals and steps to reach those goals, and having due dates for those steps. So it's like creating a blueprint
Right.
for yourself to be able to reach those goals. So it's, different things that you can do, to manage, stress in your life and to be able to manage your day to day. And it really depends on the person and what they like to do, but it can't be work. It can't feel like work for you. It has to be something that you enjoy doing, something that you look forward to. So just being able to focus on what that means to you, I think will really be helpful.
That intentional goal setting that you had me to do, that was a great visual for me to have to really think about what I wanted for my life and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to see happen, and then put the time limit on there to just focus on that. And then the whole decluttering thing, like I have been doing that since then. Like I
Mhm.
just something today, I'm like, you know what, this is mine. I paid for this. And then I'm looking at it like, what purpose does it serve? Do I really need this? No.
Mhm.
Trash. And it went in the garbage. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't need that.
It can be so empowering when you're able to let go of things.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Mhm.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because I'm thinking about, a bunch of other things that I have and I don't really need it. It's not helpful. It ain't serving
Mhm.
nothing. Let me just move that out the way so I can get something else or feel a little bit more free.
Right.
So,
For sure.
the website is up, innovativebehavioral.us. Go to that if you would like to meet up with Elrita and see what she can do, how she can help you change your life. And it is life changing. I am a witness. You gotta, I am your poster child, real. You want an environment where you can be yourself. You want an environment where you can feel safe. An environment. Yes, no, she did not pay me. This is me as I'm
No, I did not.
not get paid, but
This is not a
you
paid
you feel
advertisement.
comfortable. You feel. I look forward to it because then I can just unload everything that's happened these past 2 weeks. And Elrita's like, if anything happens, you can call me. And I just feel so bad. I'm like, I'm not gonna bother her. I'm not gonna bother her. So I'll just hold on to it and wait. Then I just dump it on her when I see her. Like, whoa, a lot been going on. Like you didn't call me. Yeah, I know, I did. But we have got to learn how to, and the pandemic taught us, we need to
Yes.
learn how to manage our minds, manage our lives. And
Mhm.
there's the avenues for us to do that. And having therapy is one of them. And I suggest it to anyone. It doesn't have to be anything going on. Maybe you just need to talk things out. You might come up with a creative idea. You might have
Mhm.
writer's block and you
Yeah.
need to go to therapy and then boom, all of a sudden, no more writer's block and you
Mhm.
can flow again.
That's right.
Pierce said, I've thrown so many bags of things I have been holding on to that this week it felt good. See
Good. That's
there?
great.
Yes.
Empowering. You're free.
Mhm. Yep.
You are
For sure.
free.
For sure. And I wanted to say that for Mental Health Month in May, we're having an open house. It's our second annual open house. So we're having it from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on May 20th. So we're going to have food trucks and vendors. We're going to be doing yoga, meditation, yoga on the lawn. We're going to have chair massages, different things. So, come on out, check us out. Bring the kids, have some fun, see what it's all about.
That is amazing. They throw the most exciting, I'm gonna call it a block party because they have so much going on. Like every time you go for an event, it's just everywhere. It's just stuff going on everywhere. So it is great.
Yes, we
Well,
love
thank
to
you.
have you come out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to come and talk with us about this. It's been very helpful. Very, very helpful. And
Yes. Thank you so much.
yeah, I
Thank
hope
you.
that those that are watching or those that are going to watch
Thank
it
you so much.
later realize the importance and it maybe spark something that would have you to want to come, seek out a therapist. So
Mhm.
we
Sure.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had fun. It was great.
I told you it was
Great.
going to be great. So next week, we have Jacqueline Jefferson coming back. She tried to get on a couple weeks ago, was having some technical difficulties, but on next Tuesday, she is the owner of Granny's Goods, and we're going to talk about healthy eating and family and all
Nice.
of that. This is our health and wellness month, so I think that we can link that in there about family, healthy
Mhm.
families, eating well, health, all that ties in. So we're going to talk about that on next week. We've already been on here well past our time. Mo, what you got? What you got?
Yes. I'm so anxious.
Yes, you're thinking about the outro.
I'm so excited. Yes, this was great today. I like thoroughly enjoyed today. And like I said, I appreciate you for
Thank you
what you
so much.
do. Thank you very much for, your contribution to just mental health in general, but especially to our community and even more importantly to our youth. So thank you. Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And I'm super excited for next week because now I feel like I'm in the know. Like I'm not the only one out here who hasn't had some Granny's goods. Now, Corey, make sure you come back on
Right.
next week too, so we can make them all
Right, right.
jealous.
Maybe that's why things didn't quite work out before because you needed to get your own Granny's goods to be able to include yourself in the
Abs-
conversation. So now you have, so
Absolutely.
you're good. You're good. So listen, guys, do not
Absolutely.
forget, email us. You can inbox Morgan, inbox me for ideas, for things that you would like for us to discuss. We have guests up until I think the end of May, up into June. We have our weeks
And
all
then,
booked
yeah,
up, but we can make some adjustments and move things around. We want to make sure that we service you, our viewers. We are supposed
yes,
to. This is not about Mo and I getting on here talking. We can video chat anytime. We are on here to empower you, to encourage you, to uplift you, to spark something in you, whether it be for your life changing, to start a business, whatever that may be. Something on one of these shows will absolutely do that. But you got to come on and invite and share. Invite and share. That's the only way we're going to spread the word. But we're open. Let us know. Let us know what you want to talk about. We'll get it on there. All right.
exactly. We like to talk about everything. We know
We do,
everybody.
between the two of us, we know every topic is covered between the two of us. And that works in our favor for this series. So we can so much. We don't have to say,
Absolutely.
I wonder who we can get. We automatically know who to call. And it's always good. So
Exactly.
Sounds great.
I know someone.
that is so
Exactly.
good.
So yes, I was like, we'll definitely be in touch too, as far as, references and, networking and stuff.
Sounds great.
All
You know,
right. All right, folks.
yes.
So until next Tuesday at the same time. Oh, and next Tuesday, I'm going to have a surprise. I'm not going to give away the surprise now. I'm going to do it next Tuesday. I can't wait.
Look, do I at least get to know
No,
before
ma'am,
Tuesday?
not even you. I want you to be surprised. I'm not going to anybody. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Don't worry, it's good. It's good. It's good. But next
Okay.
Tuesday, I have a
Okay.
surprise. And when we come on, I'm going to spill it next week. I'm going to let you be in
Okay.
anticipation.
I was like, I hope I can sleep
You
for the
know
rest of the
what?
week now.
You got babies to deliver. Cut it out to help deliver. Hey, come on.
Exactly. You didn't even take that into
It's fine.
consideration. I'm gonna be texting you all
Focus
week.
on the moms. Focus on the birthing person. That's what you need to do.
I'm gonna be like, she's only 6 centimeters. You sure you don't want to tell me, April?
You're going to be that person. Oh my God. But it's good. It's good. It's going to build it up, build it up. So when I tell you, you're going to say, oh my God. And no, I'm not getting married yet. I will, trust me, I wouldn't hold that one. I would tell you, look, I'm getting married. Not time for that yet.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I need the text message, okay?
All right, folks, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see
Have a
you
good
next
one.
week at 7:15 right here on this platform. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come up now. Come on. Stop me. Come on.